You sound like this to me. I'll
write it down for you. Oh, you can't read it. Hello and welcome to Two Bites with Will and Ralph, Series 5, Episode 3. What's wrong? What is wrong with you?
What have I done now?
Well, first of all, every episode we've ever done of this podcast, we've walked in at the start, right? You've refused. You can't be asked anymore.
No, I
went to sit down, knead the table, spilt my beer.
Well, you know, I didn't spill any of mine.
Oh, good. Oh, well,
Job's a good one.
So
I'm all right. Actually, I'm a bit ill.
No, you're not all right. You've been whinging since we arrived.
Well, I'm a bit ill. I've had a cold and a cough. And listen, it goes around this time of year, and I thought I'd avoided it. I was the other day, I was touching loads of wood. Right, do you know what you do?
No. Why were you touching?
No, I don't mean. I mean, like, do you know when you go? I've escaped it. Touch wood. You know what I mean? I've not had that flu.
You've just got logs all over
Looking
your house.
for wood everywhere.
Grabbing wood left, right, and centre.
And there's no wood. I just touched my head. So I was like, and then I started to get this cough, and then I've got this cough and cold. I've had it for about a week and a half now, and it's doing me head in.
So when I said, did you want to do this over Zoom this week? And you went, no, let's come into the studio. Yeah. You've stitched me right up.
Well, I like to share.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Have a bit of this.
Thanks. Do you know, it's a thing, you hear it all the time, don't you?
What?
Man flu, man flu, man flu. And whilst I do accept that men love a bit of a whinge, while a lot of the time women just in life just have to get on with it, right? The flip side of it is, it's left men in a position now where we're basically not allowed to be ill.
I'm not allowed.
Like, if you're ill and... You've better be hospitalised.
Seriously?
You could have, I'm dying of some wasting disease.
It's true.
My arm's fallen off.
It's true.
And your missus will walk past and be like, man, flu.
I have to shit the bed, right, before anyone would understand that I'm really ill. She'd say, oh, yeah, he is ill. He shit the bed last night.
Or he had a fair few to drink.
One of the two.
That's just a Saturday.
But do you know, it's true, because I went, oh, I've got the lurg, Michelle, I feel ill. She went, oh, yeah, won't hear the last of it now. Well, that's it.
She's right.
You'll be dying next week. I was like, hang on, I'm ill.
You do love a whinge. You left me a voice note saying that you were ill.
I was ill.
And it was the most pathetic thing I've ever heard.
I just woke up and I had all this. Where does snot come from? Can we discuss this?
For the listeners.
I cannot have any more fluid come out of my face and off my chest. Yeah. Didn't take long, did it? See?
Thanks for that.
Spread the love.
Jesus Christ.
Honest to God. Where's it come from?
Right. This is for people at home.
What?
This is the voice note that I got from Will. It was like, hi, mate. I don't know if I can record this week. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really ill. And then, you know, like when you ring into work to say that you're ill and you have to pretend you're ill, he even did a little cough for me. He went, I'm just really ill. See, you could tell how bad it is. I was like, oh, fucking hell. Somebody had a few beers last night.
No, I swear on my life. Honest to God, I've had at least 2 days off drinking with this, and that's a lot.
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay, that's how you know you're ill.
Now you know I'm ill.
Right, so this is episode 3.
Yes.
I feel like you've got feedback. I know you've got feedback about the first two. Did you enjoy recording the first 2 episodes? Good to be back.
Yeah.
Any feedback? Anything that you...
Well, loads of people were saying to me how much they enjoyed it, and do you know what? Inundated with people saying about us going on tour, which was good.
Yes.
And people saying, because we put it out there, and do you know what's been good? Because we've not been able to put anything out. From people who listen to it, who I know, a neighbour listened to it, and people, and they said they really enjoyed it, and loads of positive comments saying, "Oh, this has cheered me up," and all that, which is what it's about. But you never know when you come back, and we've been away for a while, whether people are going to get straight back on board. But we had loads of downloads, didn't we?
You always worry. Yeah, we did. Thank you, actually, for all the downloads.
Thanks very much for all your downloads and all your listens.
I think our biggest downloads of any episode ever, which after considering it's been a break, thank you so much for that. Yeah. But you're always like perennially worried about whether we are going to run out of things to say.
That's true.
Which makes me laugh. Because the idea that you might ever shut up for 5 minutes is insane.
It's amazing what happens, because once I start talking, all sorts of shit comes into my head, and I just think, well, I'll say that then. Yeah.
There it goes.
Yeah, but I'm a bit tired today because I'm ill, so you're going to have to pick up the pieces.
Oh, great. What I was alluding to, feedback-wise, I meant like your feedback.
What?
We've not been in here 5 minutes before we just started this. You couldn't be asked walking in. You then did walk in and whack the table, spilt me beer. You did your usual thing. I want you to tell people about what you were whinging about the pops. What did you ask me about getting?
No.
Getting.
Do you know what? All I said was we need a bit of one of them mic wigs, whatever they are. What do you know? The furry things you put on it. What's it called? Like a hairy muff thing. What are they called? It is a mic muff. It's a mic muff. Is it a mic muff?
It's called a mic muff.
There you go.
But it's not called a hairy muff.
Well, I'm sorry, but you know what I meant.
I think everyone knew what you meant.
Well, yeah,
but I'd rather
the muff thing because I listened to the pod back and you can hear the. You hear that? Anyone's like me who's got the Ockada.
Of course they heard it. You just went like that. Of course they heard it. But stop doing that.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's the pops on the mic. So I was saying we need some of them muffs, mic muffs.
Please, anyone listening to this, can you write in and let us know if A, you've ever noticed that, or B, you give a shit. I don't think anyone cares. But what? Right. Here's another thing.
What?
He whinges at me every week. He'll come in and he'll be like, Will with his professional hat on, and he'll be like, mate, I just want to talk to you. When you're doing the podcast, make sure you stay central to the mic.
Last season.
I know, and you've done it again this week.
No, I said to no.
Make sure. Hold on, I'm gonna get to him. New producer, the shit house, right? You come in, you're like, make sure you stay central on the mic because sometimes you go off mic if you're like laughing or something, and sometimes you go off and you talk like this and people can't hear you as well. And I was like, but they can hear me. What's the problem? It's not. What does it matter? We're not cutting a single. Cutting a single is in the 1950s.
Cutting a single.
We're not cutting an LP.
No,
it's the 1950s.
Leo fucking Sayer.
Speaking of the mic muffs, I nearly said hairy muff.
See, he had a big
afro, didn't he? And then last week, our new producer, when we did our last couple of episodes, our new producer, Sharky, came in, years in the game, used to be a radio producer, very, very professional, comes in. You should have seen Will's face. Mr. Will, I had to wear headphones at school and the teachers never believed in me. You've never seen a little boy, be more teacher's pet when Sharky went, Will, you're really central on the mic, that's great. Ralph, could you just make sure that you're not... I was like, you can get fucked as well.
Because it bothers him as well.
He's new. He's not going to last 2 weeks with that kind of talk.
Well, listen, at least you know now, you see. You learned something.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it, though. No one cares. No one cares. Please let us know if anyone actually gives a shit. I really don't think they do. Do you know what? If we get feedback saying people are bothered about that, I will change my ways.
Yeah, but you're better now. You're doing well. Carry on.
I'll do what I want. Are you still furious about the banana and the gaffer tape?
Well, do you know what? The banana and the gaffer tape, I mean, I don't know how people responded to that, but I am still pissed off about it. But do you know what? I thought I'm going to throw my hat in the ring.
And see how much that sells for.
Yes. No. Well, I thought I might try and come up with some art.
Right.
So I've got some art for you. You didn't know about this.
Have you really?
Yes, I have.
Oh, no. Let's have a look.
I've got some art for you. So I've got my plums stuck to a board. Right? So they no, think about it. They did a banana gaffer taped to a wall or a board. I've got some plums.
What's the meaning of it? Let me have a look.
What?
Let me have a look. What's the meaning of it?
Here's me plums.
That's what it's called. Here's me plums. Let's have a look.
So it's some plums stuck to a board.
Wait, did you bring this in this morning?
Yeah. On the tube, by the way.
Please tell me you had it on your lap like that. Here's me plums.
Yeah, here's me plums. Well, I was thinking, right, I know.
Will, your plums are juicy.
Aren't they good ones? Full as well. Blame the missus. Sorry. God, sorry.
I was going to have a bite of one then. And they're purple.
Don't touch me plums.
I was going to have a bite.
Me back.
I was going to have a bite of the plums.
They're going on
full,
eBay.
And then I realised they were purple.
I was going to get in touch with Sotheby's, right, and just say, right, seeing as all that bananas...
Why do they smell salty?
Get off! Give me back. I was going to speak to Sotheby's and say, right, that banana, gaffer taped to a wall, sold for 4.8 million.
Yeah.
I'll take $1 million for them.
All right. Well, I know it was a joke we made earlier.
What?
But I don't think you're going to do well with your plums.
Why?
Because
what's the difference between me and that bloke who put a banana tape to a wall?
Because they're not saying anything. But
what did the banana say?
The plums, I don't know. I didn't research it. But here's an idea, right? Based on this conversation,
right,
and based on the banana conversation and the ridiculousness and whatever, we made a joke where you went, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. And I was like, oh, see how much it sells for. But that would have contextual meaning based on what we've talked about. If you wanted to make a statement about like, couldn't anyone just do this? Doesn't this represent the...
That's what I'm doing.
Not with the plums on a board.
Why?
Because they're just plums on a board.
The banana was just a banana gaffer taped to a wall. What's the difference?
Someone's already done it. Nobody wants your plums.
Hey, Google it. I bet no one's taped any plums to a wall. I have. I'm the first. See? So should we put it on eBay? See what it goes for.
Are they life size too?
Actually, mine are a bit bigger.
I can't help notice one's bigger than the other two.
Yeah. I've gone quite accurate.
Yeah.
And I think this represents male masculinity and how we've been strapped down.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
There you go.
Now it means something.
See?
It's just shot up in value by a couple of $100,000.
There you go.
Okay.
So this represents now how male masculinity has been strapped down and we're not allowed just to be men anymore.
Okay, we can even do, while you've got them there, just do a little, feel them to show like an examination. Just we can tie it in with...
Yeah, it's not medical.
No,
we're into the art world here,
I'm
Ralph.
so sorry.
Don't be so uncouth.
All right, I'll tell you what. Why don't we? For real.
What?
Why don't we put your plums on eBay and see what we get? I'm deadly serious.
I never thought
I
never thought anyone would say, let's put your plums on eBay. See what they sell for.
After this episode, look at Will's plums on eBay.
Why eBay? Are we low? Are we going a bit low bar?
Are we low balling it?
I've got an idea. Why don't we take a picture and send it to Sotheby's and say, do you want to sell this? Because that's what he would have done. See what they say.
All right.
And we'll print what their response is.
100%. We'll try and see if we can sell that.
But we'll try and sell it. We're going to sell it. Who wants my plums on a board?
There we go.
There we go.
Sign it and everything.
Yeah.
Final thing before we get into it. What beer are we drinking? You've chosen the beer today?
We have not got a sponsor, so
of course we haven't got a sponsor.
balls to any beer companies out there. We're not advertising you until you sponsor us.
So what?
Cheers, son.
What have you got for me?
Yeah. Cheers.
No names, but what type of beer? Lager, whatever.
Lager, yeah, mate. Yeah. Alcohol free.
That's what I thought.
I'm ill.
Will,
I'm ill.
you've gone.
I'm ill.
You've gone. When I met you 20 years ago, you were a vibrant young lad with big plums that weren't strapped to a board. Right? And now you've turned into a 95-year-old grandma.
No, just this once. I'm thinking I'm a bit ill and it's the afternoon.
I think it's a disgrace.
You've got a cup of pissing tea. I'm sure you want to be sponsored by Tetley's.
I would love it.
You are. You're all over him like a cheap suit.
I do this every week. I'm like, what are we drinking? I'll have this tea.
So listen, let's get back on track here.
Big news.
Big news. We've got some news, people.
We asked if we should go on tour, and we had an overwhelming response, which is everybody said that we should.
Yeah.
So we
Yes.
are going on tour.
Yes, we are, people.
Yes.
Yay,
Here we do it.
Tour.
In a very short space of time, we have dates and venues for a tour this November 2025.
We're giving you enough time to get your tickets, get your seats.
What's written here is shout out to Pete for all his help making this happen so quickly. Pete was our producer before Sharky was our producer. Yeah. I can't help but feel like Pete has written shout out to Pete. What a dickhead.
Well, you know.
We'll give him a shout out.
Done it now.
I know, but you can't write it.
Well, he's done it.
Right. Okay. So this is where we're going on tour in November 2025, everybody. You ready? November. Saturday the 1st, Birmingham. Mm-hmm. York, Sunday the 2nd. Liverpool, Thursday the 6th.
Yes, Liverpool.
Stockton, Saturday the 8th. Glasgow, Sunday the 9th. Manchester, Thursday the 13th. Manchester, la la la. Reading, Friday the 14th. London, the Dominion Theatre.
Big one.
Big. Sunday the 16th. Halifax, Wednesday the 19th. Sheffield, Thursday the 20th. Nottingham, Friday the 21st. And Stoke on Saturday the 22nd. You can find all the details by going to 2pints.podcast.com.
Yeah, we've not been to a lot of them places, and what we did is people were last time we did a tour were saying, why aren't you coming up to Scotland? Why aren't you coming to Liverpool? And it wasn't. We kept saying it's nothing to do with us.
We have been to Edinburgh, but everyone from Glasgow was like, guys, what's going on?
Liverpool,
Liverpool we haven't been to, which is insane.
We are now with Live Nation, and they've taken over, and as you know, they're huge, and we're giving you enough time to buy the tickets. Called November Nonsense Tour.
Yeah. And this is the very, very important bit. Tickets are going on sale from 9 a.m. on Friday the 14th of February, which is Valentine's Day. So 9 a.m. Valentine's Day. You can find out all the details at 2pintspodcast.com. But please buy a ticket, and we can't wait to see you. But the idea is we're going around to all sorts of new places. Quick word about London.
Yeah. Massive, isn't it?
It's the Dominion Theatre. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Dominion Theatre, it is where We Will Rock You sold out night after night for about, I don't know what, 20 odd years.
It's a massive
It's enormous.
And it's a little bit terrifying.
Please come and see us, because if we walk out to 55 people hello, it's going to be absolutely
just one person like
that.
Yeah, please come and support us, and we promise you a good night out, and just come and have some fun with us.
Also, now what we have to figure out is what we're going to do.
Well, we'll work on that.
We are going to work on it, because we haven't figured it out yet, but we need to know, and we want to work out whether, like, a lot of people in those places didn't see the last one.
Yeah.
And we only did a short tour of the last one. So do we take out the same show? Do we just take that on tour?
Yeah.
Or do we come up with a whole new show? Our feeling is probably that we're going to keep bits from the last one.
Yeah.
The ending,
listen,
without saying much about the
don't
ending,
say anything.
that possibly will stay the same because we can't think of a better one.
What I don't want to do
But
is
no promises to anyone.
and no talking. If you've seen a show,
Yeah,
come
don't
and
tell
see
anyone.
it. But listen, every show's different anyway because it's a different audience.
So we think bits will be the same, but we think that even if you've seen it before, we're gonna come up with enough.
Crank it up a bit.
We're
We'll
gonna
give you a good night out.
we're gonna
That's what
notch
we
it up
promise.
to give you enough stuff for it to be worth coming and
So
seeing.
I
again.
want to talk about this with you actually.
Yeah.
Like when we first started the tour. Do you know, when you first went on stage, are you nervous? Are you a nervous person?
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, have you gained lack of nerves the more you've done?
Yeah. Well, you remember when we first did our first tour date in Birmingham at the Glee Club? Our first tour.
There was only a few hundred people, wasn't it? Just a test.
Yeah, it was like a little tester, and I don't think you'll mind me saying, were like. Not nervous per se, but like
I was though.
Well, maybe it wasn't
because you didn't know if it was going to work.
But it presented itself in you as just like fretting about, is this going to work? Is that okay? And like overthinking, overanalyzing.
I do like to be in control. I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to things like that. And when I'm out of control, it scares me.
So my answer, like I'm like almost like psychopathically unnervous. Like it's weird, but I don't think that's real. Like I don't think that's an authentic me. I think it's like a weird coping mechanism that I just don't think about it. Like it's just so I'll be like on press night of a play or on our first tour, literally 5 minutes before we're due to go on. I'll just be like, whatever. And then like
weird, that, isn't it?
Yeah, but like psychotically weird, like nothing, just no feeling whatsoever.
Wow.
And then about 30 seconds before I'm due to go on, I'm like, all of the adrenaline that should have been building up in a healthy, normal, sensible person for the last however long, it hits me 30 seconds before, dissipates, and then I walk on stage.
See, I'm like a caged tiger walking up and down.
Oh, I know. It's hilarious.
But that's
It is hilarious.
we are very different, but the outcome's the same. When we're on stage, the feeling you get is just you can't beat.
Don't you find
live.
that like the moment you're actually on stage doing it, you're like, this is great. What was I worried
You don't
about?
want it to end.
Yeah.
And everything just works. And the good thing about our show is the fact that the audience is different every night. So the stories are different. We have a lot of audience participation, and the crowd are a part of it. So if you come down, I promise you, we'll have a great night.
Do you ever get nervous in like other areas of? Okay, so how about this? Other areas of life that you might be nervous on? Your first audition or auditions in general, right? Or I don't know. I've been watching Big Mouth again recently. Have you ever seen Big Mouth?
No, what's Big Mouth?
Oh, get on Big Mouth. It's absolutely fantastic. We'll talk about Big Mouth in a minute. Well, I'll tell you about it now. It's an American animated show. It's very difficult to describe without it sounding both terrible and weird and quite creepy. But it's basically a coming of age show about kids. It's unbelievably hilarious, like discovering their sexuality and sexual politics at school and how mortifying and embarrassing everything is all the time. And it's so good that I wish I'd had it when I was a teenager. And if I ever had kids, when they hit 12 years old, I'd sit them down and go, I'm not going to watch it with you because I want you to be embarrassed, but everything you're about to go through, here it is.
Do you know what our version of that was? Adrian Mole.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
What was it?
I thought you were going to say Heartbreak High or something.
No. Adrian Mole.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? There was a book about it, and then there was a series.
Yeah,
and it was about him in adolescence.
Yeah.
I don't really remember much about it.
But Big Mouth is, get on it. Anyway, they deal with like what it's like to be not popular and like body image and whether a girl likes you and whether a boy likes you and all that sort of stuff. So I was about to say, in terms of discussing about nervousness, were you nervous as a teenager, your first kiss? Do you remember like your first kiss with a girl? Do you remember, like when you were like, how's this going to go? Do you remember your firsts of everything? I remember my first of every bass. Call it bass. I probably shouldn't do that one.
What was that for? What, your first what?
That was seventh bass.
Hang on. At the same time? You did that first at the same time?
Hey, and how tall were they?
Oh, they were very tall, weren't they? Either that or you were very short.
Both.
This doesn't work if you're listening to it, but watch it on YouTube and you'll see what Ralph did with his fingers.
Yeah, that doesn't work in audio, but it definitely... Yeah. Go on. Do you remember your first of everything?
Yeah, I think so. I was a very confident kid, as you could probably imagine. That's why I sort of do what I do, is I was the kid that wanted to be in the centre of attention. Enjoyed it. Because I was the youngest of 5. So I have 4 older sisters. And then there was, between the youngest sister and me, there was 6 years. So as soon as I come out, there was a lot of attention. And I was the only boy. So I think that's molded me in a way to be a person that enjoys attention because I've had it a lot as a kid.
Was
Was
that confidence, or was that seeking validation? Blah,
maybe.
Mate, spend 2 years with a therapist and we'll have this conversation again.
Exactly.
I don't think that's
I've just
one for right
started.
now.
We'll get there. But no, I don't know. Maybe.
Hold on, have you just started?
What? I spoke to a therapist last year. Yeah.
Did you?
After we did our show.
Yeah.
I said I can't let that door close again. I mean, if you haven't seen Will and Ralph Should Know Better, the last episode was quite an emotional ride for me, and there was a lot of stuff I was carrying that I didn't know. So I started.
Mate, this is amazing because we talked about whether you were going to, and you said you were, but I didn't know if you followed it up. This is actually amazing.
Yeah. I found somebody. I spoke to her, and then Christmas happened, and I've got to get back on the horse now because you know what happens. Christmas happens. Then
Also,
you go,
don't call her a horse. They don't.
No,
like that.
no, I know. I'm not calling her a horse.
And don't get on her.
But you know, I do pay her in hay. Listen, she's lucky she'll get an apple this week. Some mints. No, it's just, it's one of them. When I feel well, I'm all positive and good, I think, I don't need to speak to anybody. But then I found out, no, you don't. You just keep going.
I actually almost think that's almost a better time.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you need to speak to someone if you feel like you're in crisis. But if you can, you speak to someone when things are going well, it's great because you're free then. You don't have to focus on a crisis and you can focus on deeper stuff. I mean, as you know, and it's not a secret, I've said it a few times, but like last couple of years, I've spoke to a therapist as well. And it's a very, very, very heady combination that I had, and maybe you'll recognise this, which is, it's a very dangerous combination in life to be not only have a load of shit that you haven't worked out, but the dangerous combination is that, but also absolutely convinced that you've got everything figured out.
Right.
And that was me for a long, long, long time. And like in the rear view mirror of my life, there's just car crashes left, right, and centre, and I'm just going, ta-da, la-di-da, everything's great.
Right.
And it's like
blinkers on,
yeah, and just sort of going, just keep stepping forward, and you have to, of course, you do to an extent, but like, just kind of going. 5 years ago when we started this podcast, I'd have gone, everyone's crazy? God, people in my life, why are friends crazy? Why are women crazy? What? And then you go, what's the common denominator here? Perhaps it's me.
Well, I think me and you are very different because I am a bit more open, a lot more open than you, and I do talk openly, and I thought that's why I was all right. But you know, it's amazing how much you bury you don't know. So anyway, listen, it's a long conversation.
It's a long conversation, but when you said you started last year, I was like,
yeah,
I think that's it's just great and good for you. And cheers to that.
Cheers to that. But as far as firsts go, nerves are one thing that I sort of enjoy because it makes me feel alive. That's why I like being like on stage live and like auditions. Do you remember your first audition?
Yeah.
I mean, it was scary, but I remember I went to my audition and I'm not a great reader. I've got a bit of dyslexia. I didn't do well at school and all that. But when I was there, everyone was sat around and I was with my dad and I was sat there and I was thinking, I wonder if you've got to read any scripts or learn anything. So he went, go and ask him. So I went and knocked on the door. Said, excuse me, I'm here for the casting. Have we got any lines to learn? She went, yeah, you read it in the room. So I said, can I have a look first? And she went, yeah. And I sat down with this piece of paper with my lines on and all these other kids are looking at me going,
how's he managed
that? But nobody else did it. And I got the job.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. You know, everyone sort of sits in line, you know, they all go, well, he's not doing it, I'm not doing it. And I was that way inclined. My dad was very forward. He's going, just go and ask him. And then I thought, from now on, if there's an edge, find it and use it, especially if you're not a good sight reader, because you are a very good sight reader, and I'm not. So in a casting, if you've got, you're struggling with your words, you're out of there. And also, if you're doing a performance for a director or a casting director, they don't want to see your forehead while you're looking at a script, I don't believe. So I'd rather give them the performance to give myself an edge.
More and more of yours every fucking year.
It's in the back of my head now. I can nearly see the back of it. You know, I've got my spray on, don't I?
Yeah.
You understand?
I agree with that about an edge. I remember seeing an interview with George Clooney in the late 90s after he sort of hit it big with Do you remember
No.
That show he was
in.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's the type of thing I'd say.
So he said when he made it big with he said now that he's been on the other side of auditions and he was in a position for people to come into an audition room, he realised something incredibly powerful, which is, in his experience, it was never, say you're seeing 20 people, it was never the person who came in the room and was actually technically the best actor that got the job.
Right.
It was somebody who walked in the room with, and it's difficult to quantify, but confidence would be a broad word for it, but somebody who walked in the room with confidence, self-assurance, charisma, obviously, but that's a little less definable. But basically, confidence and self-assurance. Somebody who walked in the room like they belonged in the room, rather than somebody who sort of was apologising for coming into the room. Which is weird, because sometimes you might be playing a character who's a bit apologetic about coming into a room, but nonetheless, you still have to walk in like you belong there and then sit down and deliver what you're there to deliver.
Have you had any nightmares, castings?
Some absolute shockers.
Do you know what? If anybody out there, obviously, it's hard to explain the room that you have to go into.
Yeah,
when
people
you're
don't know what an audition is. I mean, we should talk through what an audition actually
the thing is, if you get, sometimes now everything's gone online, so now most of the time you got to do, what do you call it, to camera? Self-tapes, which
I hate.
I hate, because no personality. You put your self-tape on what you think they want, and then you don't hear nothing, and that's the end of it.
We should say this before we get blacklisted by the industry, but like, younger people, I find that a lot of people in their 20s love self-tapes because like, oh yeah, I've done 10 self-tapes this week, and it's like they're so much more sort of schooled in, like all the shit you love. Is the audio good? Is the lighting good? Stuff that I think no one cares about, which is why I've never got a self-tape, which is why I've never booked one. But younger people tend to love it, and they go, oh, I love a self-tape. I did 10 takes, and then I was really able to pick my favourite one and then send it over. I'm like, they're great because wherever you are in the world, you get a chance to throw your hat in the ring. Yeah. Great. But to me, it does feel a little bit almost more like buying a lottery ticket rather than going into an audition.
That's exactly what I think.
And meeting somebody and letting them know you and walking into the room with charisma, like we said. But also the other thing about self-tapes is I've looked online about, because it's like, oh, I've got a self-tape, I've got to do it. And it's like, some tips for a perfect self-tape. Make sure the lighting is perfectly set, like this and like this. Yeah. Make sure the audio, make sure the camera position is this. And I always feel like, do you know what I am? An actor. Do you know what I've never wanted to be? A cameraman, a sound man, or a director of photography. Why am I being auditioned on this?
Yeah, it's true. I know. I also, do you know what it's took away from me is that I used to like to meet the people and try and show that I'd learn it a few different ways. So if the director said, could you play it this way? I'd think, yes, I've got that. Because I've been working on it all week. Yeah. So as an actor, if you're going for a casting for a play or whatever it is, or TV show, whatever it is, you get your script and you have to learn it. Well, that's what I do. And then you go in the room and you perform to the best of your ability. Now, sometimes you might get it wrong, or they might change their mind, or whatever it is, but usually you don't know until you leave the room. Yeah. I had one when I went up for Game of Thrones and went in, and they were looking for a guy that was well built, you know what I mean? He was one of the wildlings, so they wanted someone who was a hunter-gatherer, you know, eating all sorts. And so I grew my beard a bit, and I was working out for a week, like that was going to make any difference.
The old, I'm going on holiday in a week, I better go to the gym.
Well, I'm going on Monday, it's Friday, I'm going to go to the gym now. So I put on a jumper and I put on a big coat, so I looked bigger. Anyway, I go in, and there's this guy behind this camera, and he was like, okay, there's your area. And I sort of had to imagine this area where I was eating this thing, and so I got right into it. If anybody would have seen it from the outside, I'd go, what's that dickhead doing? I was on the floor pretending to eat stuff, and I was throwing everything out. Anyway, I went, I did that, honestly, I was right in it, and I thought, I've got this.
Nailed it.
And the bloke's looking up with his hand out, and he went, we're thinking of going for a smaller guy now, like a less of a matchling, you know.
Yeah, more of a beta male.
More of a small guy. But thank you anyway. I was in there giving it my all, and he just basically pissed on me.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised you
didn't
get
just pissed all over me chips, is what I'm saying.
Right.
He just, do you know when you could have
waited
waited
till... I thought this was a casting couch story. He's like, I didn't even give you the part.
Yeah, well, it's what I'm saying. As soon as I left, if they'd waited for me to leave the room, I wouldn't have been none the wiser, and he could have gone, do you know what? It might work better with a smaller guy, someone who's not so masculine, right? But they didn't. He told it me right to my face, and I thought, I've been working on this for nearly 2 weeks.
Well, or he could have
and just kicked me square in the bollocks.
What he could have done is gone, listen, we may be thinking of this. So what you've done, you've brought in like an alpha male sort of vibe. If I throw this at you, can you sort of give me a different alternative or whatever?
I'll take 4 layers off, and I'll get skinny.
And then it's, oh, wait, you're stick thin. Did you send Ralph in? Yeah, that's another thing with self-tapes that you miss out on, is some directors will go, even if they like what you've done, even if they don't think, some directors, just to see if you can do it, they'll say, can you change it and do it like this? And what they're trying to see is how easy you're going to be to work with, or if you're going to go, no, I can't
directed,
do it. Yeah, exactly. No, I can't do it. You said about learning lines. I've always learned my lines for auditions.
Yeah.
And on that, like, for auditions, before I go into this, I will say, because I don't want to alienate a lot of our audience, because most people aren't actors. So from our point of view, it's very, if it gives you an idea of what it's like being an actor, when you're working, when you're doing our job, it's the best job in the world, short of being like a rock star.
If that's what you want to do.
Yeah, sure. But in terms of like, if it's what you want to do, but it's like, it's fun and expressive, and, you know, you get looked after. It's well paid mostly when you're working. But the downside is, like, you never know. I mean, I don't know about you. I ain't got anything lined up right now, and neither have you. And so,
well, we've got our own show. But
sure,
that's not acting.
That's not acting, is it? We haven't got like an acting.
That's why we got into the unscripted world, because you need to have more strings to your bow.
That's been the same for me for 30 years. Same for you, and you just deal with it, right? It is what it is. But like, having to manage that kind of, what if that was the last thing? It is what it is. But when you are actually doing it, it's great. But to give people who aren't actors an idea of what it's like, when you go, if we take away the word audition and replace it with the word job interview.
Yeah.
Think how stressful, if you're listening to this and you work in sales, or you're an estate agent, or you're this or whatever. Think about if you have to go for 30 job interviews a year, and there's every chance you're not going to get any of them.
Yeah.
That is what psychologically wise, that's what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's a weird profession, because I think it really attracts people who, and I include myself in this, and possibly as well, who are comfortable with attention, and they get validation from applause and other people, right? And yet, it's also the industry where you're going to get rejected brutally over and over again. And it's a very difficult thing to try and manage those two things. Anyway, I have never, ever, ever got a single part of any of the ones I've done in my entire career where I thought I've been good in the audition. And every time I've walked out of an audition, and including some of them, I've called my agent and gone, oh, guys,
Expect a phone call.
Did I nail that? I would put my mortgage on them giving this to me. Never got it. Never even got a call back, nothing. And every job I've ever got, I've honestly walked out the audition room going, I was shit. I was so bad. Up to and including Death in
That must
Paradise.
have been all the things I've seen you in.
Yeah, I know. Well, I like to deliver what I promise.
Let me just say this
Death
as
in
well.
Paradise, I walked into that audition, and it was one of the very few that I didn't know the scripts, didn't know the lines, because I think I'd had to come off a plane and I hadn't had a chance to download the script. Yeah, I just said to him, I was like, look, I'm really sorry. I haven't been able to learn the lines. And I'm like, okay, it's fine or whatever.
So you didn't learn the lines for Death in Paradise?
No, for my audition. I didn't have a chance to.
I'd have been shitting myself.
Well, so I'm literally like reading.
Sight reading?
I'd
have been getting words
I'd had a
wrong.
chance in the taxi, I think. I came straight from the airport or something. I had a chance in the taxi to read him, but like I didn't have long enough to...
You didn't have to go to Guadeloupe for the audition?
No, it was in London. That would be amazing. Can you imagine they
all
flew
the way to
everyone
the
out?
Caribbean. Did you get a part? No, but I had a fucking great time.
It's fantastic.
I was on the beach all day.
Stayed there for 4 months, watched them film it. So anyway, I read it, and it was really funny. The character description was like, Neville was like a big, like, sweating, fatter guy who, like, that character description was completely different from me. Yeah, it was a completely different idea that they had of the character. I mean, obviously they hadn't written any of it yet, but this was like a character sort of that they were playing with the idea of. And I walked out, I called my agent, and I was like, I didn't have a chance to learn the lines. I was somewhere between average and utter dog shit.
Really?
I feel like I sort of let you guys down. I feel like I let the producer down, who I knew from when I did series 2. I already knew him, and I was like, oh, how lovely of him to have got me in and given me a chance. And I kind of feel like I let him down. And it is what it is. And I forgot about it. 2 weeks later, I was on holiday, and I got a call going, you're the next detective in Death in Paradise.
Wow.
And then I spoke to the exec, to a guy called Tim Key. I spoke to him a few years later. I was like, what was it about that audition? Why? And he just went, oh, you came in, you're brilliant. You smashed it.
Wow.
And it's weird. Like, what lesson do you take from that? I think the lesson is you just don't
overthink it.
You just don't know.
You just don't know.
You just don't know. You can't second guess. All you can do is try. And I guess this goes for job interviews. I know we're being specific about auditions, but like I'm trying to make it more generic for other listeners. But like, you can't second guess too much. You're just there to present your ideas and version the best you can, and the rest is not up to you. As I said, only recently, because I'm a very philosophical guy, I'm going to say it to you now. I reckon the entirety of human experience is striving for the illusion of control, where we basically don't have any.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
You can take that with you.
I will never remember it because it was too many words and they were big ones, and I just heard. You sound like this to me.
I'll write it down for you. Oh, you can't read anyway.
Oh, I'm dyslexic. That's the problem, you see. That's what I was like at school. I'd be sat there and then pretending to just listening. I've got a monkey playing cymbals in my head. And then they'd say, okay, William, because I was William a lot at school when teachers talked to me, do you want to come up and write down what I've just said on the board? Because they obviously knew I was glazed over. And I'd be like, no, you're all right.
You should have just written, blah, 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 blah.
Should have just
blah, 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 blah.
That's just when, at that point, do you know when they say, can you read a passage of this book? That was just when, for me, I just want the world to open up and swallow me, because that is just not my comfort zone. Do you know,
so those things will make you nervous. We started talking about nervousness. Now you're like, oh, you've got to read something, and like, can you feel like an anxiety?
I get all sweaty. I did it in a casting where I've missed a page, and I thought, and I learned it, I delivered it, and they went, and now we're going to do the other scene. And I went, sorry. And it was the other scene was on the other side that I hadn't seen, and then I messed it up because I got the words back to front, and I was going, sorry, I don't know why I said that, and I was being all, and it was just like, again, you want the world to just open up and swallow you up. Was it on 2 pints, I think, when we had to say, Mum loves me, I had to put Matey in my bath.
Matey!
Matey! And it was matey.
I know.
Matey!
I battered you about that for about 3 years.
I was doing, it was at the read-through.
I know.
My mum loves me. She puts
I know
Matey.
my mum loves me. She puts Matey in my bath. And I went, do you mean matey? The shampoo? And you went, what? I don't know.
I've never heard of it. I tell you, honestly, listen, before we wrap up, because we're on this sort of subject, you must have had it when things have happened, especially when you're younger and you just want the world to stop and swallow you up. I remember one of the worst. I mean, we've all done things where you've gone, please, can I just delete that from my memory? There's a few things.
And everyone else's.
Yeah, well, I was a 14-year-old kid and I was playing for the football team, and all the girls had come to watch, and they'd all stand on the line. And the football team, you know, if you played well at football, you did well with the girls. You know what I mean? That was what it was about.
Wasn't my experience, but go on.
Well, no, but you know, but if they're watching,
I was about 4 foot till I was 17, so
I wasn't the tallest kid either.
It was a tough road.
But you know, if there's a tackle to be made, you're in. So, and they're all stood along this line. This is a God's honest true story, and they're all stood along the line, and the ball was right in front of the girls, and this lad's running down the wing, and I was playing defence. So I ran, I had these little purple shorts on and the PE kit was, and I sliding tackled this lad and took the ball out like that. As I did that, my shorts rolled up and my balls fell onto my leg.
Wait.
The girls could see me balls.
I'm trying to paint pictures here.
What?
Right?
No, you don't want to see it.
Well, at 14, where were you developmentally at 14? Are we talking about?
Oh, well, the balls were there.
Are we talking about a little small, sweet hairless walnut?
No.
Or are we talking?
Both bollocks. We're talking plums on a board.
Are we talking?
We're talking the plums on the board.
Make that tackle, Will.
I tell you what it was, because I wasn't used to. I didn't know you're supposed to wear like a slip. Do you know where you wear like briefs?
I never do.
I had boxer shorts.
I'm always commando when I play
But
football.
do you know the thing is, when I did it,
There you go. There's
I would.
one for the Daily Mail.
They noticed before me, so they went, "Ah!" And I
Oh,
looked down,
no.
and my balls were out. And the thing is, you know, men are quite happy to get the knobs out. Hey, wing
But
up.
your balls are mortifying. No one wants to see them.
No one sends ball shots.
No.
Do you want a dick pic? No problem. Do you want to see me bollocks? Thank you. No, you're all right. I'm all right. You can leave that hairy brain where it is.
Keep that where it is. Thank you very much.
It's not attractive.
No one's sending an I mean, there's a whole conversation to be had about this whole world of unsolicited dick pics. Who's sending a picture of the dick? I've never sent one when I've been asked. No. I'm too mortified, but I'm sure as shit not sending one without being invited.
Send one of your bollocks.
But just like that. Thought you might want to see this, lifting it up out of the way.
I want to see the last chicken in Sainsbury's.
Oh man,
no, it was horrific because I whipped them back in quick. The boys are back in the barracks, but they knew, and then it was round the school.
Oh yeah,
like, we've all seen Will's balls.
Did you go home? Did you go home after football thinking? Maybe no one will tell anyone.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. You come in and it's like everyone knows.
All my mates were like, "Yeah, I'm showing the girls your balls." Well, it was just God. No.
It's not horrible. About being embarrassed, but I have a testicles and football story. If you
Oh,
like to hear it.
I was there. Was it the one at the match when you ripped your bollocks open?
No, that was a different time.
Oh, right.
No, that
When
was
your
my.
nuts fell out?
That was my thigh.
Oh, that was your thigh.
It was my thigh.
But
I
the one where
had to
your
have a
nut
skin
fell
graft.
out?
Yeah. Have I told you this on the
Yeah.
podcast before?
Your actual ball came out of the sack.
Oh, if I've told it on the podcast before, then I won't do it. But yeah, but the moment. So yes, basically, I played on half an hour after it happened. It was a slide tackle, and I didn't realise because it was more painful. The stud raked up my thigh, obviously clipped to my scrotum, and it ended up here in my stomach. And it was my stomach that was really, really painful. But the moment, I won't go through the whole story again, but I played on, didn't think anything of it, and I was talking to the manager afterwards, and he says the moment that he was like, "What's going on?" was I was talking to him, and I'm in the middle of talking to him. I've undone my shorts to get changed to go into the shower, and apparently I just went, and anyway,
Oh, no.
and he went, "What's wrong?" And I just went, "One of my bollocks is hanging out."
Oh, no.
And he went, "What?"
Oh, no.
Apparently he's white as a sheet. I went, "One of my bollocks is hanging out."
It was out of the sack.
It was
What colour is it?
It was like that.
Is it flesh colour?
It's kind of purpley.
Is it purple?
It's kind of purpley.
So I'm bang on accurate with my piece
Oh
of
yeah,
art.
listen, mate, that is going to go at Sotheby's
There you go.
for hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
Will's plums on a board.
Right, okay. I want to wrap this up.
Yeah.
We're coming back to the plums. I want to wrap this up. Please come see us on tour. You can get tickets on Valentine's Day for February the 14th from 9 a.m. Go to twopintspodcast.com to get all your information. What's our schedule like? We've got a reminder that the main pod drops on Mondays.
Yeah.
We are going to have. Will introduced a section on our last episode.
What
called
will William
What Will
Tell?
William Tell? But we've decided that actually we're going to do that as a little bonus for our listeners. That's going to be its own separate thing that's now going to drop on a Wednesday to give you a little midweek bounce to help you get over Hump Day, where everything's like you're not quite at the weekend, but blah blah.
Yeah. Push you into Thursday and Friday.
So What Will William Tell will drop on Wednesdays and then a swift half on Fridays. And then at the weekend you can watch the full episode of our podcasts on YouTube from Saturdays. So we've got you covered for the whole week.
Yeah,
please, for YouTube and all that sort of stuff, please do rate, subscribe, and all of that stuff. Please come and see us on tour.
Yes, come and see us on tour. And anyway, if you've got any stories, any topics you want us to talk about,
we'd love some
send them
stories.
in. twopintspodcast.com. Send them in.
And if it's not, like we said last time, if it's not just stories, like, as you can tell, we're happy to talk about anything. And the more challenging the subject, we'll have a go. We won't always get it right.
If you ever made a
but we'll have
sliding
a go.
tackle and your balls fall out, let us know.
So if you exactly anything to do with football and testicles, we've
covered that today.
Yeah, I think actually that's the
we've
only
covered.
thing we don't want to talk about. If there's literally anything, please, if you see something in the news and whatever, and go, I want to know what you guys make of this, then
Yes.
send it over and we'll give it our best shot. Guys, thanks for listening.
Thanks for your support as always.
Yeah, and cheers. Oh, I've not
Cheers,
done very
mate.
well with my beer, have I? I'll see you for the next one.
I'll see you in the next one. See you later, people.
Don't knock anything over as you walk out.
I'm not. That's why I'm not moving.